Der republikanische Präsidentschaftskandidat Donald Trump ist am Sonntag nur knapp einem zweiten Attentatsversuch entkommen. Kräfte des Secret Service entdeckten den Attentäter bei seinen Vorbereitungen in West Palm Beach, Florida. Es gelang ihnen, den 58-jährigen US-Bürger Ryan Wesley Roth zu verhaften, einem glühenden Anhänger der Ukraine, der allen Anschein nach Trump erschießen wollte. Kannst du uns die Hintergründe dieses versuchten Attentats schildern? Inwiefern hat der Secret Service dieses Mal besser reagiert als im Juli? Drohte Trump tatsächlich erneut Lebensgefahr?
Well, I can't speak to anything more than what's already been publicly revealed. I am not a participant in the investigation, and I don't have secret sources of information. I would say anytime that you have a man waiting in an ambush position for over an hour with the goal of shooting you, your life is in danger. The good news is that the Secret Service had protocols in place that enabled this attempted assassin to be observed and intervened against, and he was unable to fulfill his task. One has to ask the question, are there sufficient resources allocated to the security of Donald Trump that would have allowed for a better perimeter to be established so that an assassin wouldn't be able to find a hiding spot and wait for over an hour for the president to come? You also have to ask the question, how did he know the president was coming? The president's moves, the former president's moves are, a very tightly held secret. Why did the assassin believe he could sit there for an hour with confidence that the president would eventually appear in his, in his view? These are questions that should be asked, and you're not going to get answers. And this is the problem. The attempted assassination against Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, in July, we still don't know what exactly is happening. The Congress of the United States is being stonewalled by the Department of Homeland Security, which is not fully cooperating. The agency responsible for investigating the attempted assassination, both in Butler and in Florida, is the FBI's National Security Division. They, of course, are a unit, an organization that has been politicized. They're the ones that were involved in launching Operation Crossfire Hurricane in 2016, a totally discredited effort to try and create the appearance of collusion between the Trump administration and the Russian government. It has been shown to have been a lie, but the National Security Division never paid a price for this. And now it appears they're covering up what happened in Butler, and there's such a lack of confidence in the competency of the National Security Division of the FBI that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has taken over the investigations himself because he doesn't trust them. This speaks volumes to where we're at in America today, where when you have the Democratic Party continuing to articulate Donald Trump as an existential threat to the United States, a threat to American democracy, some actively encouraging that he be assassinated, shot, removed from power. And then we have two back-to-back assassination attempts. I think one would be irresponsible if they didn't consider the possibility that there are powers that be in the United States that want to eliminate Donald Trump as an option for the American people to choose from on November 5th. It's ironic that Russia is being accused of interfering in the American presidential elections. It appears that it's the government of the United States and its various agencies that are doing the actual interference. And this isn't simply disrupting the vote. This is about murdering a man who may be selected by the majority of Americans to represent them as their president over the next 4 years.
Lass uns über die Situation in den Vereinigten Staaten sprechen. Welche Auswirkungen hat das versuchte Attentat auf die ohnehin angespannte politische Lage in den USA? Immerhin schien die demokratische Präsidentschaftskandidatin Kamala Harris nach dem TV-Duell vergangene Woche wieder Oberwasser zu haben. Wohin stürzt das versuchte Attentat die USA jetzt? Welche Auswirkungen hat es auf die Präsidentschaftswahlen?
Well, first of all, I think it's a matter of dispute that Kamala Harris has the upper hand. I think pro-democratic polls indicate that, but more objective polls indicate that it is a neck-to-neck race or that Donald Trump is ahead. This assassination attempt will only further solidify Donald Trump's base, and it may serve to bring independents over to Trump's side, Americans who reject the notion that assassination is a legitimate tool of political discourse in America today. We're in a very, very dangerous time where the former Secretary of State of the United States, a woman who took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, Hillary Clinton, who was defeated by President Trump in 2016, is now openly advocating that laws be passed to punish free speech. The Democrats appear to be headed in this direction. Absolute dictatorship. I will just say this. If you eliminate free speech in America, you eliminate America itself. Free speech is that which makes the constitutional republic possible and viable. There are many nations around the world that don't practice free speech the way the America does. That's why they're not the United States of America. Now, other nations get to do what they want. Russia, you get to do what you want. Germany, you get to do what you want. I don't care. That's your business. What makes me an American is my ability to speak freely without fear of consequence. That's the greatest part of being an American. Some people may say, well, that's disruptive to their societies. That's their societies. I don't care. I care about being an American. I care about free speech. So when I see somebody like Hillary Clinton articulate against free speech, I will call her out as one of the greatest threats to American democracy, one of the greatest threats to the constitutional republic. And everybody in the U.S. government who shares her opinion, including those FBI agents who came into my house seeking to intimidate me for what? Free speech? The National Security Division of the Department of Justice, which got the warrant, the judge who signed off on it. All of you are enemies of the United States of America. You are the greatest threat to America that exists today in terms of what constitutes the constitutional republic. We are in a very, very dangerous time in our nation's history. And it's imperative that the American people rally around people who identify with the Constitution. Now, herein lies the problem, because Donald Trump has not been consistently on the side of the Constitution. If you recall, January 6th, he was encouraging people to be disruptive of constitutional processes of government. Whether he agreed with the outcome of the election or not, it doesn't matter. The 12th Amendment of the Constitution requires Congress to certify the votes of the Electoral College, and Congress is in the process of doing that, whether Trump agreed with the outcome or not. It doesn't matter. And Trump has said that he would be willing to suspend constitutional rights or violate the constitutional rights of Americans to achieve his goals and outcomes. So it's not as though Donald Trump is perfect in this regard. But Donald Trump today seems to, at least on the surface, had a change of heart. He is recognizing the dangers posed by anybody who goes against constitutional norms, principles, and laws. Hopefully he stays the course. What we do know is that the Biden administration is actively committed to suppressing the free speech rights of Americans. People like Hillary Clinton, who are supporters of Biden, are articulating this. Rachel Maddow, a journalist who was interviewing Hillary Clinton, seemed to be nodding her head in approval. Hey, Rachel, when they come for you, will you be nodding your head? Of course not. You'll be screaming bloody murder. But by then it'll be too late, because you will have helped establish the precedent that free speech in America isn't free, that there are consequences for speaking out against government. We are in a very, very difficult time. I don't know which way this election will go. I hope it goes with the preservation of the constitutional republic by picking a candidate that best embraces the values, the principles, the ideals that are set forth in the Constitution.
Der wegen versuchten Attentats festgenommene Ryan Wesley Routh stand nachgewiesenermaßen in Kontakt mit den ukrainischen Behörden. Er selbst versuchte US-Veteranen für den Kampf in der Ukraine zu rekrutieren. Die ukrainische Regierung leugnete nicht, dass Routh den Kontakt mit ihr gesucht hat. Sie stritt jedoch aktuelle Kontakte ab. Glaubst du, die ukrainische Regierung oder ukrainische Geheimdienste haben ihre Hände im Spiel beim versuchten Attentat auf Donald Trump? Versucht die Ukraine Trump zu beseitigen?
That's a question for investigators to pursue. I think it's a legitimate question. There's no doubt that The would-be assassin has links to Ukraine. There's no doubt that he himself has articulated the murder of Trump as being supportive of his vision of what U.S. policy towards Ukraine should be. Whether or not this was supported by the Ukrainian government in word or deed is an unknown. But it is a legitimate avenue of investigation, one that cannot be trusted to the National Security Division of the FBI, because the FBI has a known track record of colluding with Ukrainian intelligence to suppress the free speech rights of Americans. We know this because the House Judiciary Committee singled out the FBI as receiving lists of social media platforms and accounts that the Ukrainian government took umbrage to because of the content. And the FBI reached out and contacted the various social media outlets seeking to suppress these accounts. How can you trust the FBI when they're working with Ukrainian intelligence to investigate Ukrainian intelligence for using an American or Ukrainian operative to try and assassinate the president of the former president of the United States? This investigation needs to be turned over to a new agency, an independent agency, perhaps to the Congress of the United States, which should create an independent investigatory arm that has supremacy over the FBI on this issue. The FBI cannot be trusted. The FBI is the enemy of America. The FBI must be disbanded. I mean, this is where we're at today, where, in order to investigate this would-be assassin, the FBI has to investigate itself. And no agency is capable of doing that.
Erst im Juli, jetzt erneut. Rechnest du mit weiteren Attentatsversuchen gegen Donald Trump? Wenn du für die Sicherheit des Republikaners zuständig wärest, was würdest du ihm raten? Sollte er auf öffentliche Auftritte verzichten? Das würde ihm wohl die Präsidentschaftswahl kosten.
I think that what makes President Trump viable as a candidate is the way in which he interacts with the American public. These public rallies, his very public presence. It's designed, I believe, to be controversial so that the press pays attention to it and he gets free press. Donald Trump doesn't need to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to buy advertisements. He just needs to be Donald Trump. And so if you intimidate Donald Trump to the point where he can no longer be Donald Trump, that does have an impact on his ability to campaign, the way he wants to campaign. This is a gamble. I think that Donald Trump wins the election if he points out the incompetence and the culpability of the Biden administration in facilitating these assassinations. There's no doubt in my mind that the Butler assassination attempt has links to the Department of Homeland Security and perhaps even the FBI and perhaps even within the security of the Secret Service. There's too much that had to have happened there that can't happen otherwise that did happen. And the fact that the Department of Homeland Security continues to interfere with a legitimate investigation by the United States Congress into these events only further implicates them. This means that Donald Trump's life is in imminent danger. They've tried once, they've tried twice, and they will probably try again. But to quit now is to concede defeat. To quit now, remember, because this isn't just the assassination attempts. This is a frontal assault by the Biden administration on Donald Trump and on anybody who supports Donald Trump or on anybody who opposes the Biden administration. They've politicized the judiciary for these ridiculous prosecutions that many just admit would not happen if the defendant's name wasn't Donald Trump. They're pursuing this to try and discredit him. His continued survival, avoidance of decisive outcome in the courts pending the election frustrates these people. They're also seeking to suppress anybody who might vocalize support for Donald Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter, but they're coming after me because my criticism of the Biden administration empowers those who are Trump supporters, just cause and effect relationships. They're going after other people, all critics of the Biden administration, a frontal assault on the Constitution of the United States of America. Donald Trump, I believe, has no choice but to continue. I would just say that he needs to take a more personal interest in his security, he maybe needs to appoint somebody between him and the Secret Service to oversee the work of the Secret Service, a security professional that will direct the Secret Service to do a better job. And maybe even put a tighter circle around him, between him and the Secret Service, because the Secret Service cannot be trusted because they are an arm of the U.S. government. They have a director of the Secret Service who is politicized, who is purposefully trying to avoid providing the resources necessary to secure Donald Trump. I believe there will be more assassination attempts against Donald Trump as we get closer to the election, because the people opposed to Donald Trump are desperate. They understand that Kamala Harris probably will not prevail. They take a look at the Electoral College map and they realize that Donald Trump is going to win handily. And the only way to prevent this is to kill him. And this is just the sad state of affairs of where America is today. I mean, it's really, really sad that a governor of the state of Florida has to step in to prevent the National Security Division of the FBI from investigating an attempted assassination against the president because he doesn't trust the FBI. America's losing trust in every aspect of the organs of governance that we used to yield our security to. And maybe Americans are waking up that there has to be a fundamental change in the way that we are governed. And right now, when you take a look at the two candidates that are running, only one speaks of fundamental changes, and that's Donald Trump, which makes him an existential threat to those who are in power. And they will try to kill him to prevent him from taking over.
Liebe Zuschauer, wenn euch unsere Beiträge gefallen, teilt sie unbedingt in den sozialen Medien. Abonniert unseren Kanal und drückt auf die Glocke, damit ihr keine Veröffentlichung von Gegenpol verpasst.